Welcome back. You're watching the Jacksonville History Show, produced by the Jacksonville Historical Society and the University of North Florida's Communications Department. I'm Harry Reagan. Our guest is one of the pioneers in aviation, Joe Hotwing Tillmon, president of the Buffalo Soldiers Historical Society. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and I want to clarify, the closest I got to an airplane is when I was in the Army waiting on it to land.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but you're same era, but Army, not Air Force.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, how come Hot Wing then?
Hot Wing was earned by two things. My motorcycle is a Gold Wing that I ride, and I added some pipes to it, and it didn't sound like a normal Gold Wing, so some of the gentlemen was stating that the motor was a little hot. The other thing is I love hot wings. We travel out of town, and I'm asked the question, what do you want to eat? And if they hesitate, we're going to get some hot wings.
Okay. Well, and tell us a little bit about the Buffalo Soldiers Historical Society.
Yes, sir. The Buffalo Soldiers Historical Society was established in November 2006. The purpose of it is to educate the general public on all African American military history from the 1800s to 1951. The passion for me, what got me involved in even pursuing this, is I was part of the Jacksonville integration system, 5th grade, going to Forest Hill Elementary. And one of the things my classmate, who was a friend of mine, said, well, Joe, you were only slaves. Y'all were only slaves. The sad part about it is I didn't really have anything to point to in the history books we was learning from. So that started my desire to learn and to get more informed. And then I found out I do have a lot of heroes that just don't happen to be in our history books.
And tell us a little bit about Buffalo Soldiers for people who don't know.
Yes, sir. The Buffalo Soldiers was after the Civil War. They were your first African American military unit authorized by Congress on July 28, 1866. Now, Congress authorized 2 cavalry units, and that was the 9th and 10th Cavalry, and 4 infantry units, the 38th, 39th, 40th, and 41st Infantry Regiment. Approximately 2 years later, Congress combined those 4 infantry units into 2 infantry regiments, which became the 24th and the 25th Infantry Regiment. Now, the 38th, one of their claims of fame is that they had the only female to ever serve as a Buffalo Soldier. Her name was Kathy Williams. She flipped it to Williams Kathy, served for 2 years.
Documentation about her?
Oh, yes. There's plenty of, you Google Kathy Williams, her name will come up. Interesting thing is that she did not get her pension because fraudulent enlistment. Sad thing about it, Molly Hatchet, who never served a day in the military, did receive a pension, but she was not able to, even though she served with honor and distinction. I'm infantry retired, and so I know what it takes to put a rucksack on your back and walk a few miles. So I'm definitely proud of the service she gave to the country and the things that she was able to do, not only doing after the Civil War, but she served during the Civil War as well.
How long after that was it before women could legitimately serve in uniform and not have to do it, not have to fake it?
Well, that kind of ties back to Florida, because it was Mary McLeod Bethune who talked to her friend Eleanor Roosevelt, and it was her relationship with Eleanor Roosevelt that that helped push the envelope to allow women to join the service. Not only that, it was Mary McLeod Bethune conversation which got the money so that black pilots can go to HBCUs, historically black universities. The funding came through this conversation between Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt. And that's how we ended up with the Tuskegee Airmen. And
tell us some more about things that we probably don't know about this part of our history.
Yes, sir. If you go back before the continent was called the United States of America, there were people of color participating in conflicts. When you go into the American Revolution, you had people of color. It wasn't just Christmas addicts at that time, even though the history book is written that way. You had regiments that fought against the British. Prior to that, you had regiments that fought to free the slaves before the revolution ever begun. Then when you get into the Civil War, the United States colored troops, one of them was stationed right here in Jacksonville. The famous 54th Massachusetts was here in Jacksonville, and that movie that you see, Glory, is based on that unit that was located here, and they have some of their military men that served is buried right on JU's campus.
And your historical society is trying to preserve this part of our history.
Yes, sir.
Collecting any kind of archival materials?
Yes, sir. Collecting archive material, and we present an exhibit every year at the main library downtown on the fourth floor, and it lasts us for a month. So we open it up the first week of June in 2016, and it will stay open until the second weekend of July. And it promotes that history that we talk, and we cover all branches of service, not just as our name is the Buffalo Soldiers, but our mission covers all branches of service to include the Merchant Marines. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Buffalo Soldiers didn't do any flying.
Not at all. But as you say that, it was the Buffalo Soldier that brought forth the commander, which we know as Benjamin O. Davis Jr. It was Benjamin O. Davis Sr. who was a Buffalo Soldier that brought him, that birthed the man. And
you mentioned that when you were going to school, you didn't get a complete picture
Yes,
of
sir.
American history. What do you have any idea? Has that been largely corrected now? Or?
The history books are basically the same as they were when you and I were in school, and when it comes to telling the whole history. And when I'm talking with the kids, I take things like, say, for instance, Teddy Roosevelt charge up San Juan Hill, Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders. Well, I show them that it was actually the Buffalo Soldiers was the main fighting force that went up San Juan Hill, and Teddy Roosevelt was on Kettle Hill and came over to San Juan. And out of his Rough Riders, Teddy Roosevelt was the only one that had military experience. The rest of the Rough Riders were polo pony experts. So we show the difference. We show them that in the history books when the Pony Express ran, and we see that in the history books. It's not about, it doesn't talk about the Buffalo Soldiers who actually delivered the mail longer than the Pony Express.
And I guess it's up to organizations like the Buffalo Soldiers Historical Society to help complete the picture of American history.
Yes, sir, it is, and it brings self-esteem and awareness, and it's not a, quote, black history program. It's an American history program talking about American history facts, and that's what we like to do.
Joe Hot Wing Tillmon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being with us, and yeah, that's our show. For more information, visit the Jacksonville Historical Society's website, jackshistory.org, or call 665-0064. And for now, we're history.